Yo, what's up, guys? Yesterday was the unofficial start of the trade season in the NBA, with more than 100 players who were signed as free agents throughout the summer. They are now available to be traded. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about how the Chicago Bulls are expected to be, I'd say, active on the trade market, the buyout market, and just around the trade deadline. Also, a Bulls insider was talking about that whole situation and how he expects the Chicago Bulls to make a move. But before I jump into today's video, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. Leave a quick like on today's video, it takes a second, helps me out, and some comments and questions below today's video as well. Also, check out my last video if you guys missed it. I was talking about how IO is making Coby White tradable. I was also talking about how Vuce has really struggled to start the season, his whole slump and that whole situation. But nonetheless, let's just jump right into it, because I'm going to be honest, since the season has started, Bulls fans, the media, I feel like Bulls insiders have all talked about how the Bulls are more than likely going to add a power forward or like a center around the NBA trade deadline. This tweet is a little old, but a Bulls insider, Mark Shanowski, has been talking about this whole situation since the season has started. And he was talking about the whole Brook Lopez injury, and he said the Chicago Bulls might be in the market for a backup power forward at some point. This was before DeMarcus Cousins did get signed or whatever. He then said, but probably not a traditional center like DeMarcus Cousins. Like I said, for weeks and months now, Mark Shanowski has been responding to Bulls fans on Twitter, talking about some free agents on the market, some potential trade candidates, and just buyout market candidates. And after that, he responded to another Bulls fan, and he responded saying, I think AK will wait to see which players might become available on the trade market, and if he's willing to trade Coby White in a major move, there's not much available in the free agent market right now. Mike Scott is a decent three-point shooter, but I'd say he's not a really good rebounder or a defensive big man, just like what Mark said. And with yesterday being the unofficial start of the NBA trade season in the NBA, a lot of rumors, of course, came out. And just yesterday, the Trailblazers have reportedly made both Jusuf Nurkic and Robert Covington available for trade. Also, Larry Nance Jr. is also getting some interest from other teams around the league. And Mark commented on this. He did say Robert is a Chicago area native. He would be a great addition for the Chicago Bulls, and I agree. I feel like Rocco is honestly probably one of the best 3-and-D type players in the NBA. Mark also said Larry Nance Jr. would also be a good pickup. I really like Derrick Jones Jr., but I just don't know if he's going to get it done in the playoffs, and I feel like he picks up fouls pretty quick and just a lot of fouls that he shouldn't pick up. Mark did say, would return in Portland's first-round draft pick and maybe some, I'd say, bench players to match salary be enough to get a deal done for one of these two. Before I jump into this and break it down, definitely let me know below today's video if you guys would want the Chicago Bulls to trade for Robert Covington or maybe Larry Nance Jr. I'm going to be honest, I just don't see Larry Nance Jr. getting traded. I do feel like he'd be a good fit as well, but I feel like if the Bulls did go out on the trade market and get someone, it'd be, I'd say, a small ball power forward, and I believe Robert Covington would fit that whole situation and honestly the Bulls starting lineup perfectly. Like I said earlier in today's video, I believe Rocco is one of the best 3-and-D type players in the NBA. And I've seen a lot of Bulls fans want the Bulls to trade for him. I've seen his name in the comments section for weeks now as well. And just the other day, December 14th, this article did come out from OnTap Sportsnet, and it was titled, Should the Bulls Trade for Robert Covington? I feel like his name is going to be thrown around the NBA trade market for honestly months until the trade deadline does hit. I feel like he's always getting traded, always flipping teams, just because he's a player that I feel like championship teams want and need. He's a perfect 3-and-D options on most teams in the NBA, especially nowadays with everyone going small ball and everyone just pretty much playing 3-and-D type players. Mark did continue. He said Robert Covington is a 6'7" small forward that can play both small forward and power forward. He's played a lot of power forward with Portland for this season, and he would give the Chicago Bulls another athletic front court player to use in small ball lineups. Billy Donovan does prefer, and I agree. If the Bulls could get this done, I would love to add Rocco to this roster. I feel like he'd fit next to Vuce honestly perfect. He's a great 3 or small ball 4 in the NBA. He's been playing it for years now, especially with Portland. Robert Covington is owed just under $13 million for this upcoming season. Next summer, he is a free agent, so he is on an expiring contract. So it makes sense why the Blazers are open to trade him, especially say they do blow it up. I'd say the most likely and potential Bulls trade would more than likely have to include Coby White and a draft pick in this deal. Coby has struggled to start this season, dealing with COVID, dealing with that injury. In my last video, I was going into that whole situation and breaking that down. Also, I feel like Ayo is just a better player than Coby at the moment. He's also much cheaper, and I feel like he just brings more to the table. So definitely let me know below today's video if you guys would want to trade for Robert Covington or Larry Nance Jr. To get Roko on this roster would more than likely have to be Coby White and a future draft pick. Maybe even returning Portland's first round draft pick in a trade. You know, that does make sense if they do tank and blow it up. But on this season, Robert Covington has kind of struggled in Portland. I'm not going to lie. You know, in about 27 minutes a night, he's only putting up about 7 points per game, shooting about 39% from the field and 34% from three-point range. He is also averaging 5 rebounds per game, an assist, a steal, and a block per game. He is 31. He is a 6'7" small forward or power forward. He has a 7'2" wingspan. Like I said, I feel like every contending team needs a 3-and-D type player on their roster, like Robert Covington or PJ Tucker. I feel like those players are probably two of the best 3-and-D type players in the NBA. You know, I highly doubt the Bulls could get this done just because salaries don't mesh up that well. And I highly doubt Portland would want their own first round draft pick back. But I could be wrong. I mean, I truly never know. I feel like nobody really knows what Arturas is going to do in the future. You know, it's obvious that Bulls insiders, Bulls fans, I feel like everyone on the Bulls Nation, like side and everyone like that, expects the Bulls to add a power forward, whether that's on the trade market, the buyout market, or it just being a free agent. I feel like the Bulls need to add a big man for the NBA playoffs. I feel like we're just too small. And, you know, the whole Patrick Williams injury, I know the Bulls were still winning games without him before every game got postponed and such. But the Bulls definitely do miss him still deep down. I'd definitely be interested in trading for Roko or Larry Nance. I feel like they both would fit this roster pretty well. Definitely let me know below today's video what you guys think. It's definitely interesting that Bulls, I'd say insiders, are responding to a lot of Bulls fans on Twitter, saying that even they believe the Bulls are in the market for a backup power forward, or I'd say a starting power forward due to Patrick Williams being out. Definitely give me some names, some potential trade market, or I'd say trade targets, buyout markets, or any just player targets below today's video. Thank you guys for all the love on the channel. I also saw the Lakers have a bunch of players testing positive for COVID as well. So hopefully that game Sunday doesn't get postponed as well. You know, the NBA is just kind of a mess right now. I see a lot of players are testing positive. Hopefully that goes back to normal because I definitely miss basketball. Definitely leave some comments and questions below today's video. Thank you guys for all the love on the channel and the past few videos. Thank you guys for watching today's video. Have a good one.